Hi, it's Linz from Sweet Natured, and this is our P&O Iona ship tour, part 1. As always, I'm joined by Mikey.
Hello.
Hello, who put the video together, and this is my first time watching, so let's see what we can see.
P&O Ship Tour Part 1, Linz.
Part 1.
Now, Part 1 in particular, because there's going to be 2 parts, because it's a big ship. And this video would have otherwise gone on for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, you don't
Which we thought for just this sort of ship tour was just too long. People would have gone through a full liquor cabinet watching it, not just a cocktail. So in this particular one, we're going to cover from deck 19...
Yes.
All the way down to deck 15, which is the upper part of the ship that are not the cabin areas. So you've got quite a few of the restaurants, the pool areas, etc.
I remember.
Do you remember? You will probably remember really well, because at the time that we're recording this and the day that it's published, we only actually disembarked yesterday.
Yes.
So this is Sunday, we got off yesterday on the Saturday. So it's all fairly fresh in our minds. But this ship tour I actually recorded about 2 or 3 days into the holiday, I think. At least most of it I did.
Oh, so interesting.
I know. Anyway, behind the curtain. So at the moment, we're having a wander down and we're on deck 16, I think, at this point, outside the retreat.
Yes.
And the Beachcomber bar.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into the retreat here.
Yes.
So on one of the days we did actually go in there.
We did.
We will cover that in our retreat and
Oasis Spa
review.
Yes.
Which will be either out now, depending when you're watching this, or out soon. It's a fairly big retreat. This is only the second time we've been on one, the other one being Ventura.
I thought you were going to say it's a fairly basic retreat.
No, and I don't want to spoil anything that we're going to talk about in there. The ship tours is more sort of us just having a chat as we're going through. And whilst I'm in that sort of thought process, if you don't want to listen to us chat, you can always press mute and then put some music on and just have a nice little relaxed talk. We won't know.
No, we won't know.
We won't be offended.
We won't be offended.
You might miss out on some really interesting stuff. You might not. We don't know yet because we haven't spoken about it.
Well, we haven't spoken about it, and there might be some juicy snippets.
There might not be. Who can say? It's not scripted.
It's not scripted, but I do have...
a very large gin and ginger.
I do.
So just talking very quickly about the retreat, just as a little bit of facts in there. If you just pay for it as a one-off, not a full ship one, because you can pay for it as a full ship, full cruise when you can pay for it in advance, then they charge £40 per person per day.
Yes.
If you pay for it up front, if I remember right online, it was about £225 for the 14 nights. So it's significantly cheaper if you know you're going to spend the full time in there.
And the weather's going to be appropriate.
Yeah. Now, we didn't know that because we went on this at the end of October through the first couple of weeks of November. It was a 2-week cruise and we went down Portugal and in Spain. No idea what the weather were going to be like. As it turned out, absolutely gorgeous. So we probably could have got good use of it. That's not to say we would have used it every day.
We wouldn't have used it every day, but I feel we got the better weather because we didn't book it.
Yeah. Had we booked it, it'd have been rainy.
Yes.
This area here where we are, that's the Beachcomber bar. They don't have an adults only section on Iona.
No.
At least not that we found in 14 days.
No.
And every area at some point had children in.
Every pool we went to, there was a child in it.
There was. So there wasn't an area that was strictly being in. This area down here, if any though, is the closest they have to it.
To a quite a retreat pool, yeah.
Because it's the furthest away. And there you go.
Yes.
If you've not subscribed to us yet, it would be great if you can press that subscribe button and the like. And there's information in the link below about our other social media and our Patreon and Google memberships.
You didn't ask me.
I know. Okay. Shall I ask you to invite people in part 2?
Okay.
Do you feel let down that I didn't ask you to?
No, I've just got used to doing it now. I thought you might have asked me.
I will ask you in part 2.
Thank you.
The Beachcomber bar was generally speaking really quiet.
Yes and no.
When's the no bit?
The no bit is from afternoon onwards on a port day. or on a sea day. It got busier as the day went on.
Busier, but certainly not compared to the other areas.
No, you could get some sort of sit down.
You could, because if you compare it, you'll see when we get to the other end of the ship where at the back of the ship, because we're at the front of the ship now, for just letting people know where we are. At the back of the ship, you've got a couple of the infinity pools.
Yes.
They were always very busy if the weather was nice.
Yeah, and there's some hot tubs and some larger hot tubs there as well. We'll see those. We're giving too much away.
We're going past the smoking area
yeah,
now.
this is not a place we go.
No, because we don't smoke.
No.
But if you do, people did. It was actually often very busy there.
It was.
I think that's about quietest that I ever noticed when I walked past.
It reminded me of a pub garden.
What, everyone just out there having a cigarette and a drink?
Yes.
It kind of was like that.
Yeah.
There's 16 hot tubs that are usable by the public, by us.
The passengers.
There are 18 in total though, but 2 of them are just in the crew area.
Yeah.
If you walk past on the promenade, you can see them if you look over the edge of it.
Yes.
Now, the whirlpools do a bit of a weird thing on here.
A bit of a weird thing.
Yeah, in that they have a button to press like any normal whirlpool or hot tub to get the bubbles to go. But that didn't work on these.
No.
They went on for 1 minute,
And
off for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Which I never got that, because they did it all the time, whether people were in or not. So I can't believe that's more efficient.
I don't know. It was almost... They weren't even hot that you'd stay in there too long.
No. Or maybe you would stay in there longer, because they weren't hot.
I don't know.
Anyway, I just found it quite weird.
It is weird.
You just get the bubbles and a bit relaxed in there, and then they turn off again. And you're like, oh.
And then
it'd come back on again.
But the minute in between the bubbles...
Seemed a lot longer than a minute.
It did.
But we did time it.
And
it was a minute for every one of them. On and off. And that was every single hot tub / whirlpool, whatever you want to call it, on the ship.
Even the ones in the retreat that you're paying extra for.
Yeah, they still went on and off just the same time. You can see over into the Skydome there. We're going to go inside in a second. The Skydome's more or less in the middle of the ship.
Yes.
It's actually slightly closer to the front than the back. And as such, because of the way it sits, there's not a main outside pool on Iona that you see on, well,
outdoor
most other
pool.
ships.
Yeah.
I mean, not every ship. Queen Mary doesn't
No.
have one. But you kind of have that central pool where you have it for sailaways and things like that. And there's not really that area on Iona, which I'm quite surprised by. So, we had watched lots of videos and I'd never really twigged that it didn't have that.
No,
But it has a huge amount of sort of promenade / outside space.
Yes.
For sunbathing, because the ship's kind of set in a little bit.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's sort of almost... The Skydome is the hot dog to the bun.
Oh, that's a weird but pretty decent analogy.
Thanks. I would...
But it kind of is.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the pool down there is the sort that you would see in the middle of the ship and surrounded by it. But you've got a lot fewer areas for, I'd say sunbathing, but you're in a greenhouse, so you could, but there were people
did all the time.
But there's not the same space for sort of lounge chairs and
sail away or anything like that.
that you have in sort of other ships like that. This is a multi-purpose venue. You might, if you're sort of observant, see a giant egg at the other side of it. we won't spoil that because we will cover that on our entertainment review when that's available.
We sure will.
Most evenings in there, they have some singer on there, all the acrobatic performances.
What my mum would have called a turn.
A bit of a turn.
They have a bit of a turn on.
They do, and it repeats throughout the night. If I remember off the top of my head, it was like something like 7:30, 9 o'clock, 10:30.
Yes.
For most things.
That feels right.
We should be a lot clearer on this, given we only got off it yesterday. And we were there for 2 weeks.
But the times, they were around the theatre times, weren't they? If the theatre started at 8, they started at 9. It was quite, so you could make...
Yeah, you theoretically could make it. If it was a popular turn, then if you weren't there 25 minutes, 30 minutes before, you weren't getting a seat.
No.
You could stand and watch it somewhere.
Yes.
And the same if you were going to the clubhouse and it was popular, you couldn't turn up 15 minutes before.
No.
There were no seats.
No.
So you did have to be there. Again, lots more outside seating area. Lovely to go and sort of be able to sit out there.
Yes.
A lot of them, though, weren't actually used that much. So
No, because especially the sort of sat up ones, it was the lounges that were very popular.
yeah. So we're going up to deck 18.
Is it deck 18
Deck
now?
18. So you're one above the Skydome again now.
Okay. There is a lot of up in and down in on these.
There is, because of the Skydome being in the middle.
Yes.
There are certain decks that you can't just walk end to end on, and you have to sort of bypass it and go around. And I'm taking us all the way up to 19 first of all, because different parts of 19 again don't go all the way across the ship.
No.
But you've got the Sun Terrace, which is where we are now.
They say sun terrace.
Well,
when
it is.
It was.
When it's sunny.
It was more of a windy terrace
Yeah.
when it was out at sea.
Now, there is a lift that you can get there, so if you are not able to get up the stairs there, because you would have to go up quite a lot of stairs to get to that, not just this one. So you can get access to it. But there's not anything there. There's just a few sort of sunbeds.
Yeah.
There's no bars or
No.
bar service up there that I ever saw when I was growing up.
Or an outdoor grill.
No, which I found quite weird. Again, don't want to take too many things away from sort of when we do the full review, but there was no outside eating area on Iona,
No.
which there is on other P&O ships.
There is on Ventura, There is.
Yeah, and it's something that you see on most other ship types.
Princess, they've got lovely outdoor ones.
I was struggling to think of when we were on there, because we talked about this of a ship that we'd been on that didn't have an outside eating area.
So basically, once you get your sun lounges and it's a sea day or even a port day and you get peckish, it's a real trek to go get something to eat.
It is. I mean, in the Skydome area, which you've got Taste 360 in there,
Yeah.
which does pizzas and burgers and hot dogs, so you can go in there. But if you're up on deck 18 or 19, you've got to walk, as you say, it's a decent trek to be able to get that side of it. Where we are now is also the jogging track.
Yes.
So you can kind of see that it looks different in the middle. There's no one jogging and we've got the arrows. But it's not, again, like we've seen on other ships where it's a very obvious jogging area.
Yeah.
And it felt a bit weird because you were running through where the pools and bar areas were.
The joggers seem to do it early morning, and I know
They
this
did.
because we used to try and have a sort of pre-breakfast whirlpool.
We did, and we'd occasionally see them.
Yeah.
Then you very rarely saw it at that point.
Yes.
And Wonder of the Seas was in that day as well when we were there. This is one of the pools at the back of the ship. There are two, the classed as Infinity. One of them's called the Panorama one, and the other the Infinity pool. And have great views over, and you got little waterfalls below it. I mean, we're up on the Panorama deck here,
Yes.
or the Panorama Pool and Panorama Bar.
I never got in one of the outdoor pools.
Did you not?
No, I got in the Skydome pool early one morning, which was nice. It wasn't. I wouldn't call it as warm.
Did you not get in when I went in the Beachcomber one near the retreat? No. Oh no, you sat on the edge and paddled, didn't you?
I sat on the edge and paddled with a cocktail. I didn't get in any of the pools on outside.
No, they weren't cold, but we've definitely been in warmer pools on
We've
ship.
definitely been in warmer pools.
But
I don't want to have to get in
they
the
were
pool.
really popular though.
They were, but I don't want to have to get in the pool and disturb everyone by me shrieking.
By screaming as soon as you get out. Again, we're going up onto a deck 19 area, separate to the other ones where you got the sports deck. They had quite a few activities organised on here.
Yeah.
It's got a little five-a-side-ish type pitch, and it had some archery set up in here, and they had golf as well.
Yeah, it was golf nets, wasn't it? It wasn't mini golf.
No, it's the golf nets. No, there were no mini golf on.
I love a little mini golf on a ship.
Yeah, I mean, Iona's a big ship,
Yeah.
and it's the biggest, to my knowledge, until Avia comes out, the biggest British-built ship.
I seem to think Avia might be getting a mini golf. Maybe I dreamt that.
Don't know.
I hope
it should
she
do.
is.
It needs a mini golf.
It needs a mini golf.
There's a lot of space, and like I said, there's some weird things that are missing from the ship. Like I said, the outside eating areas, There's no mini golf type place. Just some odd choices. There is a splash zone for the kids. This is not what you would see on some of the bigger ships like NCL or Royal Caribbean or
No,
MSC.
no.
You wouldn't describe this as a water park.
No.
It is technically in that it's a park and there's water.
Yeah.
I never saw anyone in it.
It'll be cold.
Yeah. Also, it wasn't a school holidays. There were children on board.
There were a
lot
lot
more than what I expected.
There were a lot of children on board to say it was
Outside
term
of
time.
Yeah. But there's an area for sort of people that better sit down at the side here. You'll see it, so they can sit down and have a chat whilst the kids are in
Run
there.
around.
But I say I never saw them in there at any point. And again, we're back onto the running track. So you can see what I'm meaning by the jogging track, that as you go around, you're running past areas that, right at the bar at the back, you run past the bar, you run past the pool, you run there. We don't get up and go out jogging. But it just seems a weird design thing. Some people might love it, I don't know.
Yeah, some people might love it.
And it's not a long track either.
No.
I did hear some people like moaning that it was quite short.
Yeah, I mean, I like the promenade deck, which we'll do in part 2.
We will. And obviously we'll do all the other bits below deck 15 as well. So, coming back down again now to have lost my bearings, deck 17, I think. Hopefully, past Mark will turn up something and I'll get some bearings in a second. Or he'll just turn the opposite way and ignore me at this point. I need to have a word with past Mark. Again, another seating area. You can, if you were going into the buffet, the Horizon buffet that we'll see shortly, you could take food out and come and sit in these. And you often did see people doing that at time. And again, more whirlpools at the side. The whirlpools near the Skydome were quite busy.
Yes.
Because people would go in there and then come out, because the Skydome ones inside that we're going to see in just a second were always busy.
Yeah, there was always people in.
There's only 2. They're not big.
No.
And therefore people would come out and use the ones surrounding them. So the bit with the giant egg there, which was for one of their shows, Rise, I think it was, had acrobats and birds. That's where also you have the vocal performances on there.
Yes.
We had a couple of great tribute acts on there.
We did. We had Paloma Faith and we had George Michael, and then we didn't have a drink.
Yeah, and both were really good. Because when you say tribute acts, I think it can come across as being a bit negative towards it. So, it's just a tribute. These were fantastic performers.
They were great.
And unfortunately, you're not going to see George in a concert nowadays. This guy who they got on there, what were called?
Andrew Browning.
He'd been in some George Michael videos as a double frame. He'd been on Stars in the Rise in the UK.
He was great. He was great.
Fantastic one. And they had him on in a couple of venues. They had him on in the clubhouse, and you couldn't get anywhere near that. That was just so busy. So they put him on there as well, which, not the best acoustics in there, but it's still a good performance. This is the Taste 360 that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the outside grill. This is the closest that you've got to it.
But this little Taste 360 is to service the whole of those decks unless you venture to the Horizon buffet.
This is your one eating place during daytime.
Yeah.
Because you'll see towards the end of it, I go back to deck 17 where the Epicurean is and the restaurant up there. But this is your main eatery that's not there. Now, there is technically a place called, I think it's Good to Go, something like that, which is just a fridge with some stuff in.
With some bits in there. That was near the clubhouse, wasn't it, at the back?
It's outside, yeah.
Yeah.
But, again, nowhere near where you are now. And you've got the ice cream sundaes. Is it Ripples?
Something like that.
Up here as well. But, you've got bars, you can get that sort of thing. But the Taste 360 was the closest to that grill area.
Yeah.
Also said that they did chickens. We saw them cooking it on the first day and then never saw chicken again.
We never saw rotisserie chicken again.
No, they vanished, didn't they?
They did vanish. And the pizzas, they're not MSC or Princess pizzas.
No, they were decent, and they were cooking them as fast as they could, but they only had 3 pizza areas where they could put out. So they were cutting them into about 12 slices.
Yeah.
So they put a pizza out and immediately
it'd be gone.
and then you'd have to wait another 2 or 3 minutes out. So there'd often be a big queue there at lunchtime.
Yes.
So eventually people just stopped going there.
Yeah.
And went back to there, so it got quieter again.
Yeah.
The Horizon Buffet, which is where we are now, again, is actually a multi-purpose as it's set up, because on the celebration nights, they turn it into chef's table.
The beach house part they do.
No, they opened up. You'll see later on, because I got some footage later. They do the beach house bit, but they also did another part of it. We went into the beach house bit, but on the final day, the final celebration night, I saw them doing the other half as well.
Okay.
And I've got it on camera as well.
Okay.
You can see it looks massive in terms of lots of seating. This place was full pretty much every time there were major meal time. So at 12:05 at lunch, the captain's bell would ring. He'd come on the tannoy. It'd be ding, ding, ding. The time's 12 o'clock. And people descended on the
Well, it was just heaving. It was just heaving.
Breakfast were heaving.
We
It was even busier at daytime, which most buffets tend to be not packed at dinner because people go to one of the restaurants. This was just busy all the time.
Oh my goodness! Oh no, that's not the prawn curry, is it? No.
No. Again, we'll talk a lot more about
Yes.
the Horizon Buffet in the full review and in our restaurant and food review, which, if they've been published at the time that you're watching this, you'll be able to see them in the description below or on the channel.
And do we have things to talk about?
We have lots to talk about when it comes. But that isn't what we do on the ship tours. The only thing that I will say about the Horizon Buffet is that it looks quite big, in that there's 4 different areas to it. All 4 are exactly the same. So you've got actually fairly small selections.
It's reflective, isn't it?
Yeah, so each of the 4 quarters, essentially, is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it is not a big area
No.
all. To say how many tables are in there
Yes.
and how big it is, you can see it goes pretty much from the Skydome to the back of the ship.
Yeah.
So it's half the length of the ship nearly,
Yeah.
which, to my sort of memory, and you might correct me on this, it's probably about the longest buffet that I've seen.
I think you might be right.
I'm struggling to think of a longer one.
You feel funneled.
I've found a bigger one, but again, that's because the ship's set back in a little bit from the edge, and therefore it's a little bit narrower.
It's a hot dog.
It's the hot dog. I'm not sure people are going to buy into that one.
Well.
Now, this might look like we're at the same pool that I went earlier, but as you'll see, there's a bridge on this one.
Yes.
Because this is the Infinity pool and bar area.
Yeah.
Again, very popular area. We're in port at this point, which is why it looks fairly quiet. But even when we're in port, it's still busy.
It got busier and
You
busier.
had this other little tub at the other side that kind of were a little bit pointless. I never saw anyone going in.
I never saw any. I thought it was like ornamental. That's the first time I've seen the little
No,
stairs.
it is for pool, and it has like this little hot tub in the middle, but it's not a hot tub.
Oh, I hate that.
And then you got another infinity bar. So it looks almost the same as the Panorama one, which is where we're stood now, 2 decks above.
Yes.
But they were very popular, and certainly when it came to sort of port days, it was still popular at that point. But when you were at sea, when the weather were good, they were just absolutely rammed.
Yeah.
And then we're back in the other side of the Horizon Buffet, and we're going to come down towards where Beach House is as well.
Yes.
Now, Beach House is another of their speciality restaurants. It's where the buffet is during the day, and then it's converted into that at night. And there's a cover charge of, I think, £7.50.
I can't remember.
But if there's certain dishes that you might want to pay a little bit extra for on top of that as well.
Yes.
As you can see here, they're opening this bit up because the other bit's getting a bit busier now, but it's exactly the same as
As you can see, it's the same. It's the same things.
It is, yeah.
Which made it weird when people were going from one end to another having a look.
To see what one, it's like
it's day 12. Have you not figured?
I have to say, in the early part of
Did you do it?
Not on day 12, but on the early part, like day 2 or 3 when we went in there. I did wander through to the other ones to go, I wonder if there's anything different. And after wandering, I'm like, oh, no, there's not.
I figured it via the cheese.
What, and the cheese was all the same?
The cheese was the same on both
ends. Did the
ends.
cheese tell you? Did it speak to you? Go, Linzi.
It might have done.
This is the Gorgonzola.
The Gorgonzola?
This is the cheddar.
That's more like it. They did have Stilton, but only in an evening.
Oh, fancy. And we're in the sort of the beach house area. Again, this is part of the area that they turn into the celebration nights for the chef's table.
Beach house.
So if you are going on Iona and on the celebration nights, the black tie nights, the formal nights, whatever
Gala.
they call it for that particular
Celebration.
one, that's the only time that they do the chef's tables.
And we enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're still sat in what is the buffet, but it's a served one. And the menu was good.
And they gave that area a real glow up as well. It was lovely.
Yeah, it's got really nice
white linen.
White linen, nice crockery and cutlery.
Yeah.
If you didn't know,
yeah, you were in the buffet,
then you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
And again, we've looped back around again to the side of it, and we're now at the Laguna Bar, which is again in the Skydome.
Yeah.
So it's that central part of it, and you've got two main bars in there. You've got this one, and then you've got the Skydome bar, which is upstairs. But that was more of almost like a serving area, as opposed to a bar.
Yeah, and then the ice cream.
And then you've got the sundaes.
Yeah. We didn't try the sundaes here.
We didn't try the sundaes here. We had the ice cream afternoon tea.
I'm not saying anything.
Just breathe. It was very large.
I'm not saying for one.
For one person, and it was a huge for two. So I'm not.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll talk.
We will
have a
cover
drink.
that in there. Lots of places to wash your hands, as you would expect still, but most people
Loads of
tend to use the sanitizer everywhere. They've got a lot of these screens up that you'll see on there. This one at the other side is advertising what's on there sort of this evening in the theatre, and that was one of their shows, Digital, The Noise Next Door. You just sort of stand in front of one of them for about a minute, you're going to see everything that's the main thing that's coming on during the day. It doesn't list on there things like trivia that's coming up.
Oh, no.
Like
It's more of the acts, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And one of the bits that I found a little bit weird for their app, and again, we'll talk about this much more, not on the ship tour, but on the app, there's nowhere that it shows the other stuff that's coming on like that, like the trivia or dancing or stuff. So if you didn't have the piece of paper, or you didn't stumble into it, then you'd be kind of a little bit struggling on there.
Yeah.
We're going to go down to decks 8, 7, 6 and 5 on the next one. Part 2.
Oh, duh.
And so depending when you watch this, you'll be able to click into this straight afterwards up at the top at the end of the video. But we're going to just quickly go to the Crowsnest bar, which is up on deck 17. It's tucked away. You can get to it some steps outside of the retreat area.
Or you have to walk all the way forward to the
the way to the forward lifts, then go up to deck 17 and don't go into the cabin area, but turn the opposite way.
We didn't go here as much as I thought we would.
No, I expected us, after the amount of time we spent on the Ventura equivalent,
Metropolis bar.
I thought we'd spend most evenings in there.
Or the Commodore's Club on Cunard.
Yeah, and we didn't. The reality is we spent most of the time in Anderson's or the Emerald Bar.
Yeah.
Which were more convenient. Then you got Epicurean, one of their fine dining speciality restaurants. We'll cover that in the food and review. And again, just tucked away nicely.
You think tucked away nicely?
Well, it's tucked away.
Yeah, it's not in a... It's
not in as nice a spot as what we saw on Ventura.
No.
Because we can only compare those two P&O ships, because we haven't done the rest of them.
Yeah.
But in the next one, so at the end of this video now, we've covered deck 19, 18, 17, 16 on it. We're then going to go down to 8, 7, 6, 5 with all the shops, the bars, and the spas.
Okay, lovely.
That's the end of another video.
Oh, goodness. So, thank you for watching. Cheers, darling.
Cheers, Lance, and cheers, everyone.
And have a lovely day.